And we are back, dear viewers, to welcome our guest in today's episode of Hello Kuwait. We would like to welcome Dr. Ali النجاده, Associate Professor, Interior Design Department, College of Basic Education, PAET, member of Expo965, Team for Cultural and Handcraft Exhibitions, hand waver and loam designer. So, mashallah, when it comes into the title itself, it's, let's say, Dr. Ali, it's really, let's say, big and huge. So, of course, we'd like to welcome you here today as guests, and maybe we'd like to also give a brief introduction to yourself when it comes into, let's say, your profession as itself.
Thank you very much, Hippa. I am very pleased to be here with you. And should I say I apologize for the long title, but to make it simple, I wear a few different hats. The first hat is that I am an associate professor of interior design at the College of Basic Education, which is part of the Public Authority for Applied Education and Training. I'm wearing my second hat as a member of Expo965 team. It's a voluntary team for traditional exhibitions and traditional also crafts, and also we host a number of talented Kuwaitis. My third hat as a member of the World Crafts Council, the Asia and Pacific region.
Yes.
I joined Expo965 as a hand weaver and as a loom designer, and that's what probably you've mentioned at the beginning of this episode.
Yes. So as you're talking now about, let's say, Expo965 and about what they're presenting towards, let's say, the people over here, of course. So it's really important, I guess, to have such exhibitions when it comes into talking and showing about, let's say, cultures itself. So maybe you could tell the audience more about this expo that's been held, let's say, which is also named Expo965.
Yes. Well, let me say first, I welcome all the viewers who are watching me today in this episode. And let me just explain what is the meaning of Expo965 and why we specialized in such exhibitions,
yes.
you know, for heritage, crafts, and talented Kuwaitis. Expo is a short for exhibition, and 965 is the international code for Kuwait calls. And we specialized in these three areas, traditional exhibitions and handcrafts and also talented Kuwaitis, because our members, they are segmented into three different groups, but they are all in one group. I don't mean that they are divided, but
yes.
they come from three different backgrounds. The first and maybe the largest group of members, they are the holders and owners of their special traditional collections. And when I say collections, they have, let's say, house collections, like, you know, pottery,
Antiques,
yes. And some of them, they have documents. Others, they have books and magazines, old magazines. So we have variety of collections.
Yeah.
And the other set of group of members, those who are, we can call them handcrafts people. I'm one of them as a weaver. And we have people who are working with beads, masabih. Others who are working as, we call them galalif, or the ship builders for miniature ship building. And the third group, the talented, we have people who are talented or they are specialized in carving on eggshells and in the apro type of painting and working with coloring paper.
Yes.
And other materials.
Yes, of course. So when it comes into, like, as you now, we've been talking more about the expo itself and what's been holding it, what they're, let's say, actually providing to the audience themselves who attend the exhibition itself.
We are, the major objectives and goals of this team is to preserve and promote the true Kuwaiti heritage to the public, whether they are natives of Kuwait or they are, you know, what do you call them, the people who are living here in Kuwait, but they are not Kuwaitis.
Yes.
Okay, whether they are working or living with family and so forth. And the second objective is that we would like to also save our heritage, save our handcrafts from extension, what do you call it?
Yes, as you said, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't want to lose it, okay? Kuwait had about 90 different handcrafts in the past, and recently or nowadays we don't have that many of them. Many of them have gone because with the the wealth that we got from oil, people no longer had to work and do handcrafts. They are more into working for governments or finding other jobs, which provides them with more income, family income. Okay, so we are losing a lot of these handcrafts, and that's why we are trying to revitalize and also to preserve these handcrafts and promote them, especially to the youngsters, because we are losing a lot of the older persons, and we want somebody to replace them. So these are the main objectives of our group.
Yes. So as you know, you mentioned about the problem of the keeping the heritage itself. It's of course one of the main cases that now it's really, let's say, you rarely see a person who's, let's say, from 12 years old or let's say till, let's say, 18 knows about the old heritage of Kuwait, maybe the traditions of certain, let's say, things they used to do, especially in weddings. We used to have, let's say, yalwa kind of, let's say, tradition ways, like some kind of, let's say, these kind of, let's say, generation is really, let's say, losing this heritage, even when it comes into, let's say, certain and specific objects. It's of course it's really important to save this heritage and keep it within the society itself, because it's really important. And what will happen to society if we lose our identity and we, let's say, kept up with the modernization that's happening here in the country's all region? So yes, I think having these kind of exhibitions is really important for the society, and of course for people who are coming abroad to know more about Kuwait and know more about the cultural side of the country. So yes, it's really important to have that. So also when it comes into the accomplishment, when it comes into the exhibition itself, like what are the accomplishments that happened during that?
The team was established on the 7th of March 2016. From that day up to today, we've held and participated in about 62 different exhibitions. Within 2 years, about 62 exhibitions. So that's a large number of exhibitions. And we have worked hand by hand with other governmental institutions or agencies and the private sector. We have worked with a lot of schools and other entities to show them what we have. So instead of the youngsters just reading about this and maybe hearing stories about the Kuwaiti tradition and the Kuwaiti, let's say, materialistic items, we try to provide them with the experience to come, see, watch, touch, and ask questions about what we have in our private collections, and to ask also the artisans and handcrafts people to see them and talk to them and see them also working. So they learn by observation and they learn first-hand experience.
Yes, so I really do agree on having, let's say, varieties of way in displaying things, because most people are into visual learners. They like to learn by visual, watching things and touching them and feeling them when it comes into that, of course, senses itself. So also when it comes, as you said, it's been held from 2016, the members were working together. So from 2016 and 2018, how, let's say, when it comes into the community of the member itself, like how fast did it grow? And when it comes also to the complications and difficulties that maybe faced you during the journey from 2016 and 2018, like inshallah there are, let's say, not difficulties much, but like maybe you can elaborate on the journey itself.
Well, there are no accomplishments without obstacles, but obstacles, as there is a saying, whatever doesn't kill you will make you stronger.
Yes.
So we had a lot of obstacles, but alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, with the help of let's say the Ministry of Information, programs, TV programs and radio programs just like yours here, and the newspaper, and we've used also the media. They all help to kind of ease our lives and also to give us the upper hand in trying to outreach to the public and to the different organizations and associations here in Kuwait. The group started small, but in a very short period, it grew, mashallah, it mushroomed. We have about 120 to 130 different members, and they are, let's say, from 17, the majority, the great majority of them from 17 and above. I don't want to say how old, you know, some of the members, but the age is not an obstacle. And by the way, we have also a member who comes with his father. He is, I believe, 10 or 11 years old. So we have number of people in our group. One of the obstacle that we are facing now is that we need to kind of have our own location, our own place, in order to be able to, instead of just participating in exhibitions for 2, 3, 5 days maximum at one point of time, we would like to have a place that we have a permanent display. And hopefully with the help, I don't know who's going to help us, okay, but we have, let's say, thoughts and ideas of how we can approach it to have a permanent location where we have our exhibitions, permanent exhibitions, and we also have places for workshops. Because as I told you, the youngsters or the young generation need not just to know about what we are doing, but they need to see us practice it and get involved in it. So we need a place where we can hold different kinds of workshops to show the people on how to do things the proper way and in the original way, in order for us to be able to preserve and promote you know, tradition and Kuwaiti traditional handcrafts.
Yes. So also when it comes into, let's say, the review of the people and the audience that attended this exhibition from 2016 until 2018, like how do you see the response towards them, like when they come and attend to see, let's say, the heritage, the cultural side, the workshops that have been held inside the exhibition itself?
The response is amazing. It is growing so fast, and if you can get to our Instagram account, which is, by the way, anybody who is interested in knowing more about us can go to Expo965, where they can find our activities, present, past, and maybe announcements for our future let's say exhibitions and activities. They will also see that we have lots of activities. The number of people visiting us and coming to our exhibitions is increasing in a tremendous way, and I would like to take the opportunity to thank all the people who have supported us throughout our journey from day one until now, and I also would like to thank them for being with us in the near future.
So also, as your profession, being as, let's say, a professor in interior design, and being a member in this exhibition and working in the weaver field, like how did the combination all started together? Like, have you, let's say, had an interest in weaver work and moving on, let's say, to having your own profession into interior designing? Like, how did it all started to be together?
Well, to make the story very short, I got involved into interior design from the age of probably, let's say, 10 years old or 8 years old. My father purchased me a hammer and a saw, and that got me into carpentry. And when I grew up about 20 years old, I joined the Arabic theater, and I worked on making the decoration for the different plays. And then I also became a member of a small company called Al Arabi Company for Decoration. And later I decided that I would like to pursue a career, because I got a diploma in teaching math and science for middle school students and elementary school. Then I decided that I would like to pursue a higher degree, but in interior design. That was my profession. So I went to the United States and I got my degree in interior design. During that period, I took 2 courses in the use of textiles and interior design, and then I took a summer course in structural weaving. Okay, so that kind of put my foot at the beginning of the road, or that was my first step into dealing with textiles. Then when I came back to Kuwait, I gave 2 workshops in Dar al-Athar al-Islamiyya, that was in 86 and 87, and I would like to thank Sheikh Hassa al-Sabah for that. Later, I decided that bachelor is not enough. I would like to go for a master's degree and a PhD, and I got that. I came back in 1996 and worked as a faculty member at the College of Basic Education in the Interior Design Department, and I taught a course called Textile Design, where I teach tie-dye, printing on textiles with stenciling or block printing and so forth. And also I got interested in more into weaving, and I got to know Sheikh Altaf Salim al-Sabah in Al-Sadu Society, and I would like to thank her through your program here. And they gave me the opportunity to become their weaving counselor for about 15 years. During that period, I developed a loom, which is called the vertical loom, and we used it as a tool to kind of move from the floor loom, the traditional Asadu floor loom, into a newer loom which is vertical, to help the weavers to sit in a healthy way, in an ergonomic way, to weave, which will help them to kind of stay longer time and have better weaving. And then I became more involved into weaving and developing different looms. I have about 6 different looms, the last thing that I joined the Expo965 team about a year and a half, and I became one of their craftsmen people as a weaver and as a design or as a loom designer. So that's my entire story in a minute or two.
Yes. Well, mashallah, we've been hearing, of course, mashallah, you had, let's say, a really great journey when it comes into, let's say, from the beginning of your studies until now. So when it comes into, let's say, sharing this experience, like have you shared it with maybe your students, or let's say your educated learners themselves, and talking and expressing about them, and maybe telling them that you've, let's say, been a member of 965, or we just let them, let's say, whoever enters the exhibition and knows, so, oh, this is my professor over here being a member. So have you, let's say, maybe exchanged this with your, let's say, learners themselves?
All the time I talk about this, not to brag about it, but to give people an idea of where they can have, let's say, a job and a hobby. Okay, and it's great when your hobby becomes your job and you join them both together. You become more creative and you enjoy your life. And I always tell them that those who dedicate their lives just to their jobs and they have nothing else, they will not enjoy living. So I keep telling my students about that. I talk to my kids, well, actually not kids anymore, they are older, my sons and my daughters, and I tell also my friends. And when I joined the Expo965 team, I also told them about my background and so forth. And so far, everybody that I talk to about my experience, they enjoy it as a story, they enjoy it as an example of accomplishment, and they ask me about how to follow my footsteps. Anybody who is interested, I am willing to share my experience with them, and I will be delighted to hold their hands and take them with me and start another journey with them.
Yes. Well, Dr. Ali, let's say you're becoming one of my idols now when it comes into achieving goals and dreams, and mashallah, as I can see, and as, let's say, I've been enjoying this great interview with you, and let's say having, let's say, more beliefs that you can actually reach towards your dreams and enjoy life, as you said, again, when it comes into having your job, having your hobbies, and combining them all together in order to have, let's say, enjoy your life and enjoy whatever, let's say, you've been doing. So as we reach towards the end, maybe we'd like to give the audience that are watching us, let's say, a final advice when it comes into, let's say, achieving their goals and dreams.
I would say there is nothing to fear but fear itself. So if anybody is afraid of anything, most of the time that fear comes from inside them. So I would say get over it, do it, and be successful. Don't set limits to yourself. The sky is the limit. And if you have a dream, try to pursue it. Because if you don't, then one day you will regret it. So before you regret not pursuing your dreams, take the chance, take the time, give the effort, do it, and God bless them.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ali.
God bless you too.
النجاده, for your, let's say, precious advice for the audience, and hopefully everyone, let's say, who heard it will actually take it word by word and achieve their dreams, of course. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And with that, dear viewers, we're going to head to our second report in this episode to continue with our, let's say, second guest. So stay tuned with us.